On that cloudless day on the Mediterranean Sea, nothing foreshadowed tragedy. Tourists were smiling and taking photos on the deck of a small pleasure boat while blue waves lazily rocked the vessel. No one could have predicted that in a few hours, 26-year-old Sofia Martinez would find herself face to face with one of the most dangerous marine predators, and these crystal-clear waters would turn red. There were 5 hours left until sunset, but even then, the hours of her life had begun their countdown. A group of 5 friends, she, Alex Fischer, Eva Klein, Lucas Wagner, and Isabel Schmidt, had been planning this trip for almost a year. They met while studying at the University of Berlin and had often traveled together since then. Alex worked as an architect, Eva was a child psychologist, Lucas taught at the university, and Isabel was involved in landscape design. Sofia herself had recently received a master's degree in marine biology. Although she had never done professional diving, her knowledge about the dangers of the sea remained purely theoretical. She could not have imagined how soon they would become reality. "Let's take one more photo," exclaimed Isabel, taking out the camera. Friends crowded at the boat's side, smiling at the lens. Later, this photo would become the last picture where they were all together. Sofia stood at the edge, the wind playing with her dark hair, and her eyes reflected the cloudless sky. She looked so alive, so happy. Marco, their instructor, was an experienced guide with 20 years of experience. He frowned as he peered at the horizon. Something in the air made him nervous. The barometer showed a sharp drop in pressure, but the sky remained clear. "Maybe we should cancel the dive," he muttered to himself, but the cries of excited tourists drowned out his doubts. The boat stopped half an hour's journey from the shore. The sea here seemed especially deep, its blueness both mesmerizing and frightening. Sofia, checking her equipment, remembered lectures on marine biology. It was in such places, where deep waters meet coral reefs, that large predators often appear. But she pushed away this thought. Statistics said that encounters with sharks were extremely rare. The weather began to change imperceptibly. The wind intensified, a light ripple ran across the sea's surface, and clouds occasionally covered the sun, creating a bizarre play of light and shadow in the water. "Stay together. Don't swim beyond the buoys," Marco repeated for the umpteenth time, helping tourists descend into the water. This time, there was concern in his voice. The experienced instructor felt that weather conditions were becoming increasingly unfavorable. The first half hour in the water was magical. Colorful fish darted between corals, sea anemones waved their tentacles, and the transparent water allowed visibility for tens of meters around. Sofia became engrossed in observing a large parrotfish, not noticing how the strengthening underwater current was slowly but inexorably carrying her away from the group. Occasional gusts of wind created waves on the surface, making it difficult to maintain orientation, while shadows from clouds hindered visibility. When she finally raised her head to get her bearings, the boat appeared as a tiny dot on the horizon. Attempting to swim back proved futile. The current was too strong. With each stroke, Sofia felt the fatigue growing in her muscles, and the distance to the boat seemed to only increase. Panic washed over her like an icy wave. She knew all too well what it meant to be alone in the open sea. Suddenly, the water around her emptied. Small fish disappeared as if they had never been there. Larger ones darted into the depths. Sofia knew this sign. This is how marine inhabitants react to the appearance of a large predator. Her heart beat faster when she noticed the first shadow gliding in the depths. The great white shark appeared as if out of nowhere. Its grey-white body was the embodiment of a perfect killing machine, 5 meters of pure power and grace. Sofia froze, paralyzed by both terror and admiration. As a scientist, she could appreciate the flawless evolution of this predator. As a human, she understood. The chances of surviving an encounter with it were practically non-existent. The first attack was lightning fast. The shark rushed past, leaving a deep cut on the girl's side. The pain didn't come immediately. At first, Sophia saw how the water around her turned red. Every movement resonated with sharp pain. Her arms and legs felt like lead. She tried to stay calm, remembering everything she knew about survival in such situations, but panic was already beginning to cloud her mind. The second attack was merciless. Razor-sharp teeth gripped her leg, tearing flesh. Sophia's scream was drowned out by the splash of waves. Pain pulsated throughout her body. Each breath was a struggle. She felt her strength draining away along with the blood coloring the water around her. The attempt to stay afloat required more and more effort, her arms and legs feeling as if they were filled with lead. The third attack struck her arm. Sophia could barely keep her head above water now. Black spots danced before her eyes, consciousness beginning to blur. She felt an unnatural lightness throughout her body, the first sign of serious blood loss. Her thoughts became tangled, slow, and viscous. In these final minutes, time seemed to stretch. Sophia remembered her last conversation with her parents before the trip, their request for her to be careful. She recalled the unfinished scientific paper on the desk in her Berlin apartment, the half-read book on the bedside table, tickets to a concert next month. All these small details of life, which had seemed so ordinary, now took on special value. The shark circled closer, preparing for the decisive attack. Sophia no longer felt fear, only a strange serenity and slight sadness. She closed her eyes, feeling the salt waves rocking her wounded body. "I'm sorry, Dad," was the last clear thought that flashed through her mind before the world around her exploded in a piercing whistle. The sound was so unexpected that Sophia thought it was a dying hallucination. High-frequency clicks and whistles cut through the water, reflecting off the surface and creating a cacophony of sounds. The shark froze, its powerful body tensed like a string, and then the space around filled with movement. They emerged from the blue of the sea like grey ghosts, large, swift bodies cutting through the water at incredible speed. A pod of dolphins surrounded Sophia in a tight circle, their movements so coordinated as if they were performing some ancient dance honed by millions of years of evolution. There was something unreal, almost mystical about their presence. The largest dolphin, no less than 3 meters long, suddenly broke away from the group. Its attack was lightning fast. It struck the shark in the gills with such force that the predator was thrown aside, leaving a trail of bubbles behind. The other dolphins immediately joined the attack, delivering precise, calculated blows with their powerful snouts. Sophia, balancing on the edge of consciousness, watched this battle as if in slow motion. Despite the blood loss and shock, her scientific mind continued to record details. The perfect coordination of the dolphins' movements, their attack tactics, their method of communication through series of short clicks. It resembled a well-planned military operation. The shark couldn't withstand the onslaught. After a particularly strong blow to the gills, it abruptly turned and disappeared into the depths, leaving a trail of bloody bubbles. The dolphins had managed to wound the predator, but the pod didn't celebrate victory. 2 large males immediately swam to Sophia's sides, carefully supporting her with their bodies. Their touches were surprisingly gentle, almost caring. The other members of the pod took positions around, forming a living shield. The movement towards the boat seemed endless. Sophia's consciousness flickered like a faulty light bulb. Periods of clarity alternated with blackouts. She felt the warm, elastic bodies of the dolphins keeping her afloat. Their skin was smooth and flexible, not at all like she had imagined from textbooks. From time to time, one of the dolphins emitted a soft whistle, as if encouraging her. Panic already reigned on the boat. Marco was the first to notice the absence of one of the tourists, but poor visibility and waves made the search difficult. He was the first to see the unusual gathering of dolphins and alarming red streaks in the water. "Lifeboat! Quickly!" His shout brought the entire crew to their feet. When the lifeboat reached the scene, the rescuers froze in amazement. In the middle of the sea, surrounded by a ring of dolphins, a wounded girl was staying afloat. The dolphins parted, allowing the boat to approach, but they didn't swim away, continuing to circle nearby as if making sure that help had arrived. "Oh my God, Sophia!" Isabel's scream cut through the air as they lifted her friend aboard. It wasn't easy. Sophia's right arm was practically immobilized, and blood continued to seep from the deep wound on her leg. 4 men carefully transferred her to the lifeboat, trying not to cause additional pain. The last thing Sophia saw before losing consciousness was the grey backs of her saviors smoothly descending into the depths. The waterspouts from their blowholes seemed like a farewell salute. One of the dolphins, the largest one, momentarily raised its head above the water as if making sure she would be all right. Their eyes met, and Sophia could have sworn she saw an almost human intelligence in those eyes. She regained consciousness in a hospital in Palermo. White walls, the beeping of medical equipment, and the smell of antiseptics. Everything seemed unreal after the nightmare she had experienced. Doctors spoke of a miracle. With such blood loss and multiple injuries, few survive. 234 stitches, blood transfusions, 3 surgeries. Sophia had a long road to recovery ahead of her. News of the incredible rescue spread around the world. Journalists besieged the hospital, demanding interviews. Scientists from different countries contacted Sophia, trying to get details of what happened. They were particularly interested in the behavior of the dolphins. It didn't fit into the usual framework. Professor Andrea Rossi, a marine biologist from the University of Naples who studied this case, proposed several theories. Perhaps the dolphins were protecting their territory from the shark, and saving the human was a side effect, or their social instinct, which compels them to protect injured companions, extended to humans as well. Other researchers pointed to the high intelligence of dolphins and their ability for empathy that extends beyond their own species. There are known cases where dolphins have helped injured companions, keeping them on the surface of the water for hours. But helping a human, and in such a coordinated manner, remained a mystery. Did you enjoy this story? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to not miss new releases. See you soon.